Welcome to Soul Matrix Show, unleashing the power of your infinite soul with Sheri Collins. Sheri can help you remember who you once were. Tune in to see the bigger picture, release your past traumas, and step forward into your true self and living a life that you love. This show will help you with all of this by being of service to you, sharing messages of hope, faith, and understanding. We all have inner wisdom within us, and Sheri can help you find it. You can be the creative change that you want in your life, and Sheri wants to show you how to do that. Let's navigate on your soul's journey. Soul Matrix Show starts now.
Hey, I'm Sheri Collins. Welcome to the Soul Matrix Show on Transformation Talk Radio. I am so grateful to be here today. I hope you guys had a great week. And we are going to dive right in. Tonight's topic is something that I feel everybody has had to navigate through as you go through your ascension process. So we're going to start off by just kind of understanding a few points that everyone has to kind of navigate through as we awaken into this higher consciousness. And some of this comes in forms of understanding your blueprint. Your blueprint is not only what you've left behind, but what you're still carrying with you. And as we navigate, we start to understand where things are not fair. We start to see things in a different light. We start to see ourselves wanting to change into a different form. So in the first part of this, I'm going to kind of walk you through a little bit of a segment that I did with a few of my beautiful students in one of my groups. And that's understanding where we're the victim to certain circumstances, where we're the victim outward and inward to ourselves, where we feel like things are not fair. We're still bringing in that childlike mentality of, you know, I need to have my temper tantrum, or I'm suppressing and I need to be able to release that. This is kind of where some of the victim comes in, whether it's circumstance of what you went through to get to this point in your life, whether that's a traumatic event or where you feel like you weren't good enough, insignificant. Those are victim mentalities that we hold on to, thinking that something isn't fair. Something has to shift or change in a perception for us to feel like we are not the victim anymore. When in all actuality, we could come to a forgiveness standpoint and then heal that trauma and let it leave. The other aspect is the villain. Where are you the villain? Maybe you have children, or you as a child, you were the villain in your family to certain situations or siblings. How often do parents feel like they're the villain to their children when we tell them, no, you can't do that or can't have that? Maybe think back to a time in your own life where your mom or your dad or grandparent or someone who was looking after you was the villain. It's time for you to go to bed and you're fighting it, right? They're the villain to you. Where have you been the villain to yourself? Where have you denied yourself something that your soul truly wants in order to make a point? And last but not least, there's the saver. Where do you feel like you need to save someone? Where do you feel like you need to be saved? Right? Some of the things that have come about in the last few years through the spiritual community and those who are waking into consciousness are they're waiting for somebody exterior to themselves to save them from the life, from the dis-ease, from the lack of money, from, poverty, third world countries. They're waiting for someone to save them when you actually go to those third world countries. Yes, some people are waiting for someone to save them, but they still go about their life. And so do you. So as we navigate through this journey, it's understanding that those three blueprints that we bring forward of our own self from past to now, and then navigating forward, those are the components of all lifetimes that we need to heal. So whether you have Akashic records, whether you have, quantum healing, those are still aspects that are going to show up in everything that you do, right? So let's do a little bit of an exercise as we walk through this so that you guys can kind of step into that and start that process for yourself. So I want you to think of a time for yourself where you were the victim of something. And make it so that you're the victim, not somebody else in victim mode. You're the victim. What was that one thing that you became the victim of? Whether it's a bully teacher telling you that you're not good enough, you're stupid. Where are you sitting in that role? And look at that for a second. Why do you feel like the victim to that? Is it serving you to hold on to that role? Is that something you still want to carry for you moving forward? Because if you have children watching you, they're watching that program as well. And then they could start to adapt into that mindset where they're the victim too. How much of you wants to release that program? Are you done being the victim to that circumstance that maybe was a long time ago? It could have been yesterday, but it's still something you're choosing to hold on to because nothing is happening to you. It's showing you something, right? So if you're ready to let that go, what's the consciousness inside of you that says, I no longer need this program, it needs to stop, right? And can you literally just forgive whatever that was that happened? And some people can't, and that's okay in this moment. That just requires a little bit deeper of a dive. Okay. Everything can be forgiven. It's just an understanding of how. So look at that thing and just say to yourself, am I ready to release this? Is this something I'm willing to let go right now and not have it come back, or let it go and see what happens? So if you're ready, just take that one thing, forgive them, forgive yourself, and allow it to go. Okay. Let's move into the villain. Where have you played the villain? And again, if you have children, this could be a reoccurring pattern in that. Right? That's where I recognized my own. I was the villain to my daughter for making her want to go find her lunch bag. Right? In her eyes, I was the villain. When we tell our kids it's time for bed and they're like, but you're going to eat all the good snacks before when I don't get any. You're the villain to your children. Right? I laugh because that's my child does the same thing. Both my children did that. Well, you're going to go to bed and have a party and I have to go to bed. Right? So to them, they look at it as this big thing, and now you're the villain because they have to go to sleep, right? That's when we can giggle at. But in all actuality, your children don't look at it that way, right? They don't look at it as though it's funny. They look at it, excuse me, this is my tantrum. I want to stay up, right? So there's a part of our souls that go through this journey and need to release those things. Right? Just on a little sidetrack note, though, where has somebody else been the victim to you? Where has somebody else been the villain to you? What's something that you recall? Let's go into victim first. Where has somebody else been the victim to you and you feel for them? So, okay, so I'll do that for you. I'm sure every single one of us can go down that road and acknowledge someone who's played that victim role, and we've dove right in to help them. There's nothing wrong with that. But is that become the enabler? We're enabling them to stay in that stuck pattern for themselves instead of saying, hold on a sec, why don't I grab your hand and let's do this together? Right? So we can help each other get out of these victim and villain roles so that we no longer have to do that. Our soul wants to heal. And by keeping the patterns going, it's like going to the same movie over and over again. It's hard to shut it off when that's all that's playing. Right? Anxiety, depression, all these things are the suppression of emotions. And these are the programs that create some of that stuff. The program that you're holding on to is just the situation and the circumstance. Right? So let's go into the saver. Where do you feel like you needed to save somebody? Where have you needed to save someone? Maybe in your life, it's about saving a sibling from fighting with somebody else. If you have an older brother, were they the saver to you? Did they have to save you from somebody else? Most brothers who are like, if you touch my sister, I'm going to beat you up, right? That's the brother saving the sister from anything. So the life decisions that she chooses to make are no longer hers because the brother's going to stand in the way, right? Here's one of my other clients. She told her cousin that she would lay down her life for her. So now you became the saver of her. You stand in the way of anything that needs to happen so that they don't have that experience. I'm sure we've all been through it, right? When we go through a traumatic event, we want to be saved. So if we take all of this knowledge and information and go back over the last 2.5, 3 years of everything that's transpired external to us, how many of you stayed home like you were supposed to? You were the good little girl and boy. You stayed home just like you were told. Okay. How many of you wanted somebody to save you, to go to the rallies, to do this, to do that? Your choice. Did you want someone to save you? Did you want someone to hear you? And if you think back to the last 2 years, where did you not stand in your own self and you let somebody else dictate how you're going to feel in that moment? Isolation, abandonment, pushed out of family systems, no one to love you, have to wait for things, It's not fair. Maybe you lost your job over the last couple of years. Are you the victim to what transpired externally? If so, maybe there's two ways we can change how we look at that perception. What did it do to hurt you, and what did it do to save you? What's the role you stepped into by letting some of that go? What's the role you stepped into that was better or worse of what you let go of before? Where did you rise up to help somebody else who was struggling in that moment? And as we navigate forward, this is part of our conscious awakening. This is part of where we step in for ourselves, where we step in for others. This journey is always about you first. You have to come first in all of this, because when we understand what we always went through, what we've been through for years and lifetimes, it becomes easier to navigate forward with somebody else, to help somebody else. So as we move through this, this is allowing you to set up your life from now forward by being able to go through those 3 blueprints and being able to understand them for yourself, where you can let things go and where you need to hold things. It will start to change the relationship with people around you. Okay. It's no different than the ego work, or you can call it the dark night of the soul, but it's just a different way to look at some of this stuff that brings it a little bit more into this perspective. Instead of referencing the ego, we all have ego. The dark night of the soul is the deep dive into all this stuff. This I just found is a little bit gentler of an approach, and allows you to still take the lead of that. So what I want to do is I'm going to let you guys go to break. And when you guys come back, I want to keep going through a different structure to get you guys starting to look at your future of what it is you truly want, and you being able to paint that canvas for yourself. So let's take a quick break, and I'll see you guys back very shortly. Everyone, I am Sheri Collins for the Soul Matrix Show on the Transformation Talk Network. So let's keep diving into this. Let's go a little bit further. So as we navigate through this, we have family, we have friends, we have people that we meet all the time, and they have their own perception of what your life should be like, what their own life should be like. Sometimes we even step into the perception that, what's in front of us isn't our truth. What's in front of us, we've created it and we don't like it. Right? So how do you see your life? What does your life look like for you? Is it something that you love and enjoy, or is it something you're just living day by day? Is there a component of this where you're living for somebody else? Maybe your children or your husband or partner. Maybe you're living to make somebody else happy, right? So we always want to step into that structure of what it is we want, right? The structure of what you create is what you're going to navigate through. But it's how we live it for ourselves and somebody else that really shows us where we are on our pathway to this ascension. So in this moment, if we think about where you are on your pathway in this ascension awakening, which means a higher frequency of energy, you're seeing more signs that we talked about the other day, where, okay, I'm seeing the synchronicities, I'm feeling different, I'm losing friends, or I'm gaining certain things in my life, I'm drawn to the spiritual side, I want to become one with the creator. All of these things will guide us and navigate us. Maybe even part of this journey is about, do I need my family, or do I step into my soul family? Those things that resonate more. Now, that will depend on your life circumstances, right? The circumstances will show you and dictate part of that journey forward until you decide truly what it is you want. And there's no problem with any of that, but it's what is it you want? So when we start stepping into that structure of what you want, you get to pick and choose everything that shows up in your pathway. And we might not always know what we want. We might decide one day we want pizza with pepperoni, and the next day we're like, okay, I don't want the pepperoni. And is it okay to choose that? It's okay to choose anything that you want. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to say, oh, this or that. The one thing we don't want to do is say that it's a mistake. Because as soon as you classify something as a mistake, then that means it's kind of like, okay, I failed, this didn't happen. That's not even a thing. And when we step into those things where it makes us feel worse about ourselves, or we feel down, we feel depressed, there's where you go into your victim and your villain and your savior, right? We want to navigate out of the tantrums, right? Because that's a learned behavior. So the more we can step out of that and step into our truth of what it is we want, the truth of what we see, the truth of what we know, that will change your perception of how you navigate your life forward. So as we go through this, where do you fit? Do you fit in your family? Do you fit with your own life? Do you fit with your children? Do you fit with the situation? Do you fit with your job? How does it feel to step into that for you in this moment? Think of your job for 1 second. Okay. So I'm going to step into what I do. And I love what I do. So for me, it brings joy. It brings this open feeling here. It brings expansion here. And it brings forward everything that I know and don't know. Right? So think about this for a second. What do you love about what you do? Stepping in for you and stepping in for your job. Does it feel good or does it feel heavy? Does it feel aligned or is it there pressure? Do you have all these suppressed emotions, tampering it down so that you're just, okay, yeah. How do you fit in with your family now? So here's you, here's your family. How do you fit in with them? Do you fit? Do you feel like you belong? Now, this can be your family, the ones born and raised. These can be adoptive families, and this can be your soul family. Do you feel like you fit? It's okay to say yes, and it's okay to say no. I can tell you up until November, I didn't feel like I fit anywhere, right? I was trying to fit everywhere, but I didn't feel like I fit everywhere. And I noticed as soon as I tried to fit, everything fell down. Everything collapsed in that structure of me trying so hard. And I ended up alone. I ended up looking at everything through my own lens going, okay, there's no one here. There's no one around me. There's no one going to save me. There's no one to support me. What am I going to do for myself? Right? And it's understanding when I step into this, here's the message that needs to come forward. When I step into this, the universe provides me with this. And it's interesting when we take a step back and say, okay, what is it I need? All the information starts coming in pieces to say, here's the love that you didn't give yourself today. Here's that message that you bypassed today. Here's that thought that you didn't finish. And the universe will line it up and show you every step of the way what that looks like. But we have to figure out, do we want to fit? Am I here to please my family? Am I here to please my children? Am I here to please everybody but myself? Or am I here to grow my consciousness, elevate myself to be able to shine my light and help others after I do my healing work? We can do others at the same time when we're ready. So do you want to fit? My answer when I was all done my healing stuff after I came back from Egypt was, I don't want to fit. I want to be me. And if that means today I get to do that, tomorrow I get to do that. And if I screw it up, I'm okay with that. There's no one to judge me. There's no one to criticize me. There's no expectation exterior to myself because I'm not meant to fit in that box. I'm meant to fit here. And when I fit here, that allows me to step forward even more. It allows me to expand even more. So what I want to do with you guys right now is I want to walk you guys through an exercise. And I'm going to be honest, this came from my coach, Scott. It was a profound experience. I've done it in a different way, so I'm going to give it to you in my way because I've done this before and it's absolutely amazing. So what I want you to do is I want you just to close your eyes for a second. And I want you to imagine yourself walking up a ladder. And you're going to go up 10 rungs of that ladder. One hand, then the next hand, one foot, the next foot, all the way to the very top. You're going to send yourself to the very top of that ladder and you're going to step off that ladder onto a platform. It doesn't have to be made of anything in particular. And I want you to walk forward and I want you to meet Source, whatever he looks like to you, energy, a person, your choice. I want you just to stand in his presence for 1 second. I want you to ask yourself right in this moment, is there an expectation that comes from him for you to be somebody other than you're not? Or to be somebody other than who you truly are? Is there an expectation there? Or is he just ready to embrace you for you? And take one more step forward, get a little bit closer. What's one thing that you need from him right now? Is it love? Is it faith? Is it unconditional love? Tell him that. I ask for this because you are this. I ask for this because I want to receive this from you because you are that. Allow him just to surround you in light in this moment. Allow him to take the burden of everything that you're feeling in this moment, the victim, the villain, and the savior role. Give it to him. Just give all of it to him. Now take a step back. Is he judging you for anything that you've done in your life? Where you've made a mistake, or you feel you've made a mistake, where you weren't your true self, where you tried to fit in with people who, rejected you because you weren't supposed to fit there in the first place? For the expectations of how you show up to your family, you're not perfect, but they expect it. Is he judging you for any of that? Is he asking you to fit into the mold that everybody else wants you to fit in? He's not going to ask any of that of you. He just wants you to be yourself. So I want you to come back down the ladder and then back into yourself. So now as we navigate this forward, it's about truly understanding who you want to be, how you want to show up for yourself, and what you want to do with those gifts and talents that you have, regardless of how small or how big they are. It's you showing up for you. It's you doing the work for yourself. So as we navigate forward, we're going to start to build that. We're going to start to put the truths in place for you so that your truths equal the puzzle that you're going to step into. And every piece can be changed. There is no set anything to your puzzle. Your pathway, there's no set. Because every step you take on your pathway, you can change that in an instant. Bob Proctor used to talk about an hourglass, and every grain of sand that would fall through this hourglass, the moment it passed through the center point, was your now moment. Future and past really don't exist, because now and then now is my future that just happened now. So by us creating the life that we want to move forward with, clearing the past as we go, when it shows up in our reality, we get to step forward into our truth. We get to step forward into what resonates. We get to step forward into our higher self. Because every moment of every day, you are that. But we have to clear the gunk to be able to get there. So let's set the pace for just before we come back from break. So what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think of a blank canvas. What would you put on that blank? We're not going to paint it yet, but what would you put on that blank canvas for yourself? What do you want on that canvas? What's your future? Don't paint it yet. And the reason why I'm telling you not to paint it yet is because there's still something in your way from creating it. There's something in your way that's not going to allow you to paint that while you're believing. So we're going to start this process where we're going to get ready to paint. We're going to have everything ready. And then we're going to heal what's in front of us first. So what I want to do is we're going to keep ourselves set up here. Grab your paints, grab whatever it is you need. If you want to draw while we do this exercise, you can grab a sketch pad. You can grab your paints, Play-Doh, whatever you want. Or you can just do this one-on-one. And we're going to navigate this so that you can start creating your reality of what you want to walk through. And this is a lifetime. This is not just now. This is lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. You're the one who gets to set the stage for everything. And let's do that when we come back. Hey, I'm Sheri. Welcome back to the Soul Matrix Show. So let's dive into this a little bit further, just before we start painting our canvas. So we'll just do a quick recap. So we're going to start painting our own canvas of what we want. Let's remove whatever's in the way first. So what's your truth? What do you believe must be true in this moment? Before you paint something new, what's holding you back? Is there something, a situation, a circumstance, somewhere where you feel you can't have everything that you want? It's too hard. There's things in the way. Sometimes that perception of truth or that perception of a reality that doesn't really exist, you've just created to keep you safe. So think about something right now that's stopping you from moving forward. What's that thing? Is it a person? Is it a job? Is it money? Is it a partner? Is it your children? Is it a circumstance where you were in a traumatic experience? What is that for 1 minute? Think about it. Okay. Do you want to still hold it? Do you want to still carry this stuff? Where is it showing up in your body as restrictions? Do you still want to hold it, or are you ready to move forward? What if we just asked it to be removed? Hold it in your hands. What if you just asked for it to be removed from your neck or your back or your throat? What if you just let it go? Can you forgive that? Is it relevant to keep it? How about we just put it to the side for right now and just say, you know what? This no longer needs to exist with me. So I'm going to put it over here for right now. Okay. So let's walk through one more thing just before we start painting. Think about what it is you want. One thing. In that one thing, is there a process, 1, 2, 3, 4, that needs to happen? Sometimes what happens is we take things from A to Z instead of A to B, and we can navigate that end result in this now moment. And then what follows is this, a whole bunch of chaos, because we've already completed something. And now there's the finer details that show up that aren't completed before that final end result. So what is it? What's your process? What are those things that need to happen in order for you to get to that end result? Maybe you need to go see a lawyer. Maybe you need to, create a garden. Maybe you need to paint something. Maybe you need to move some old chores out of the way. Okay. If that's what needs to happen first, that's okay. So you're going to do that right after the call. Okay. So now what I want you to do is I want you to take your tools and I want you to start creating your canvas. This canvas is only about you. Is there lots of color? Is it black and white? Is it a future event or a past event? And when I say past event, that just means something that's reoccurring that still isn't healed, and you're going to bring it up and you're going to throw it on there because the past didn't equal out, right? I want you to try and paint from the heart. I want you to try and paint as though everything behind you is done. It's healed, completed. What is it you want? What are you going to put on that canvas? So in my canvas, I see me teaching. I see me helping people awaken. I also see myself leading people. I see live events. I see a successful other exterior business. I see me bringing more partnerships in. What do you see? What does that look like on the canvas? Being able to create that. Try and stay out of your head when it comes to the thinking. We want to leave the thinking out of it. Come from the heart. This is just for you. Don't bring in the doubt of, I can't have that. That's too hard. We want to keep those 3 things out of it. We want to keep the victim out of it. We want to keep the villain out of it. And we want to keep the saver out of it. We want to step into desire with love and compassion. If you could have anything, what would that be? What does that look like on your canvas? And as you guys navigate and paint that, where is it you want the people from your past to come with you? So if you had the opportunity to be able to change something with the family or the friends or the soul family, where do they come back into the mix? Maybe you had to let everybody go in order to see that you can navigate forward. So where does that become that next step? Where, instead of staying home, do you start to go out? Where, instead of holding back, do you get on a plane and go explore somewhere? See the reality for yourself. Where are you afraid to take that next step? And this is going to allow you to create that. How does it feel to look at that in your painting? How does it feel to navigate that? Because that's your life. You're projecting outward to the universe to say, I want this. This is what I want to create. How does it feel to create that? How does it feel to sculpt it? Most of all, how does it feel inside of your body? Because I feel a lot of tingles right now. And for me, tingles is like, yes, let's do this. Like now. Let's not hold back. Let's just step in. Let's get her done. Right? Every moment of every day, you're creating that new canvas. Every moment of every day is that one piece of sand that drops through the hourglass. That's that now moment. By creating these portraits or the sculptures, it allows you to set the pace of how fast you change your reality. Yes, what you think about becomes. What you do projects outward. So if you want to step into being the soul who commands what you want, who steps in and radiates what it is you want to show everyone, it has to start with a thought. That thought of creation. So are you ready to start taking the lead on your own life? To not let somebody else dictate it for you? Are you ready to stand up and say, I'm willing to surrender, to help people, to have what I want, to be able to share what I do? Are you ready? Because the only one who can answer that really is you. I can see you all shifting and transforming, and I know you're ready. But because you're navigating your own life, I can observe, I can guide, and when you're ready, you'll step in. But this is where we don't let our story of the past create our future. Because the stories are just stories. How many of you had golden books growing up? Mother Goose and the Band-Aid, Dr. Dan, the Band-Aid man. Those are just stories. Whether they're based off real life or not, they're just stories created. You're creating your story. So when we speak negatively and we think we failed and we think we can't do it right, and because somebody else told us something insignificant, not good enough, it's time for these patterns to go away and to allow them to navigate exterior, to allow them to move that energy out and to be able to see you step forward. You get to create the life that you want. Nobody else gets to tell you how to create it unless you let them. Their opinion doesn't really matter unless you let it. So what is it you want? What do you want for yourself? What do you see for yourself? What do you see for your career? What do you see for your spiritual growth? Now is the time to step into that. And it's a learning thing. We have lots of things we can heal. But the one thing that I have learned on this whole entire journey from stepping into this the past 4 years is that everything will show itself when you need to work on it. Everything shows up as a reoccurring pattern, whether that's relationships with people who don't serve our highest good, jobs that suck, money, always feeling like you have the sieve effect. I get paid and it's gone the next day. As we navigate through our journey, we start to understand, hey, hold on a second. That's not even mine. That's my mom's. That's my dad's. I'm just living their story because I watched them. So by stepping in to create your own canvas, we can start to see those things that come in and it's like, oh, hold on a second. This is not even mine. So I've been holding on to my mom being the victim. And I'm just following suit. How many of you have ever done that? Take a look back on your life right now and think of one pattern that you have, where to come from. Did you actually create it? Did you see it? Those are the things we're going to work out. Those are the things we're going to start to navigate and move out of our awareness as healed things. I acknowledge it. I give it my love. Bye-bye. It doesn't need to take days, months, years to heal this stuff. It really, truly doesn't. It's about stepping in and understanding what it is you truly want for yourself. And the more you step into what it is you want, the more joy you'll bring in, the more gratitude you'll bring in, and the more abundance just shows up to you. But we have to start the journey somewhere. And that somewhere is learning to understand the villain, the victim, and the saver. And I can tell you, my life has changed in like literally the last 3 weeks just by going through that. So I have no doubt that you guys can do it too. I support you. I'm cheering you on because it's not a hard process. It's just we have to want to do that work. And sometimes it's uncomfortable and sometimes it sucks so bad. But at the end, you did it. You accomplished it. You stood up, you did the work, and now you get to step forward. More and more people are stepping into that conscious awareness. And that conscious awareness becomes you to the creator, that crystalline Christ energy. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to be spiritual. It's just connection. Knowing that there's something greater for you. Just as there was for me. So let's take a break and let's come back. We'll talk about a little bit more stuff and then I'll let you guys go. So I'll see you guys very shortly. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Sheri Collins on the Soul Matrix Show. So let's talk about the start and stop steps to your progress. So let's just do a quick recap of everything that you can step forward in this journey to be able to take yourself from beginning to end. So the first thing is starting to understand where you're in the lead of your life and where other people are trying to control your life. Where, we need to maybe navigate out of certain friends and family members for a little bit and then allow them to return later. Maybe part of this is about changing the way you think about things, right? Instead of having a negative mindset, we step into a positive thinking mindset, right? Connecting to our spiritual, the crystalline body, and understanding where we want more for ourselves, being able to let go of the old patterns and mindsets of the lack. Maybe part of this is about what's your truth, and not something that you've heard from somewhere else or someone else, right? Because those are beliefs, and beliefs are not 100% aligned always with what we truly know. So understanding where the family comes in, understanding where you come in, understanding where it's time to just put that aside for right now, allowing things to come in and out that no longer serve you, right? It's okay to let go of friendships. They will come back if they are meant to, and they'll come back stronger than they ever have. For some of us, that's the hardest thing, is to be isolated back to ourselves again. That internal journey for ourselves is the strongest one you will ever create, because that is the connection to self. The higher self cannot lie to you. Your guides can't lie to you. Source can't lie to you. The only thing that can lie to you is your ego. So allowing yourself to tap into anything negative is the ego mind coming in to disrupt what it is truth. Allowing yourself to step into higher consciousness, understanding your connection to your soul's truth. What is it I want? What pathway do I need to take? Maybe this is about you leaving your job. Maybe this is about you finding a new pathway or something else to step into that resonates just as much, and then carry on. It's about creating that new canvas for yourself, full of color, full of life, full of love. No lies to yourself. It's okay to paint something that's not here yet. Paint it into existence. Paint the love into existence. Paint everything that you desire, a better relationship with people, into existence. Don't let people influence your decisions on things. It's okay to ask for advice, but don't take it if it doesn't resonate. This is all part of taking that command of what you want. Understanding where you're playing the victim, not only to yourself, but to somebody else. Where's somebody else playing the victim for you to save them? Do you want to keep continuing down that roadway, or are you ready to step forward and become the leader? Where the villain shows up in your life. Sometimes we got to do tough love. Sometimes we don't. You don't have to become any part of a villain to that we don't want to. Maybe this is about being saved. As a child, did you need to be saved by someone? As an adult over the last 3 years, did you need to be saved by someone? Understanding where you start to take the lead on your life and allow everything else to be pushed to the side as we heal it, right? It no longer needs to come in. Where those reoccurring patterns need to make a stop so that you can fully navigate through one step at a time. These are all things that need to start to happen as you move forward. There is no pushing it aside. I'll deal with this later. That's not how it works. It's still going to come back. The more those patterns come back, the more you're still living in that cycle and that pattern. We want to stop those patterns. We want to start emerging ourselves in a new direction, right? So by stepping forward, stepping into it will allow you to start to understand what it is you need, right? And by creating that canvas and knowing that every grain of sand that comes through that hourglass, you have now to decide. Don't like that choice, choose again. Choose again, choose again. There's nothing stopping you and your choices. It's all up to you, right? So I would say for the next couple of days, why don't you start navigating that painting? Create that in your mind's eye every day and start stepping into it. What does that look like? Is there an action step I can take step by step to get me into that space? Maybe this comes down to you dowsing into a part of your life that you're not unsure of. Because sometimes the universe will show you things that we call them poops and giggles or shits and giggles. We just put things down as an alternative, and that alternative is the one that ends up playing out. So don't let anything be off the books or off the table. Put it on there. Doesn't matter how small or insignificant you think it is. The universe looks at it and goes, oh, you want that mansion? Well, here you go. It's the unlikely choice that usually we end up with. So don't hold yourself back. Don't hold anything back from what you want to create on your canvas. The only one who's in charge of that canvas is you. So if you have friends and you have family who keep navigating into your life, it's okay to say, you know what, hold on a second. I'm busy. I got this to do. Feel free to walk beside me, but I still have this to do. Right? Somebody tells you to do something. Hold on a second. I'm not a child anymore. I can make those choices for myself. Thank you, though. I appreciate that. And start stepping into what it is you want. You want a job change? What does that look like? You want to step in and work for the universe? What does that look like? You want to step out and own a farm? What does that look like? You want to go off grid in a community? What does that look like? Step by step. Here's my step 1. Here's my step 2. Here's my step 3. And start creating that. Your momentum is going to be key. The action steps you take with the love and the joy that you feel inside of yourself for that thing that you want to create is going to be key. So I want you guys to navigate that. Go back, do the exercises again if you need that as a tool, and start stepping in. So as you guys navigate this forward, though, you might come up against things that you're not sure how to heal. So, and that's where I'm here as well to help anybody who needs it. So I have a couple of programs that I offer to people. One is Unlock Your Blocks to Freedom, and that allows you to navigate this lifetime of trauma and things that you're unsure of or don't remember. And we can heal those things so that you can allow yourself to set yourself free of those chains. We could do one-on-one coaching sessions. That's always available for anybody who's ready to step in. If you're ready just to open up and expand and be able to heal more than one thing, it's time for you to dive in and do that work for yourself. And if you need me to help you navigate, I'd love to help you. A lot of people are just starting to understand that there's certain things that they don't want to do for themselves, and they do need guidance in order to help them navigate it. And that's one thing that I'm a firm believer in. I didn't know what a coach was until I was one. But what I find is, especially when I work with my own clients, it's how can I help you to understand this? And what can you do to start that ball rolling? So I'll give you homework. I'll give you things to do so that it's like, okay, well, I can't just do it all for you, but here's where your component comes in. So it is time for us to take back some parts of ourselves, some parts of our responsibility. But for some people and some of my clients, that deep, deep healing is what needs to happen first. And it's okay to ask for help. There's never a part of this journey where we can't ask for help. And that's why I brought you up to source today, because it's like, here, I give this to you. I'm going to surrender this all to you because it's so much easier than me having to carry it. Right? But what do you need in return? Do you need to feel that love? That exercise that I walked you guys through with that ladder, I actually did it in class today and I ended up crying because I was so full of emotion with empowerment and enlightenment and just love that maybe I don't get in my daily life. There's no, the touch, any of that stuff. I hug and kiss my kids every night before bed, but it's a different kind of touch. It's a different kind of human touch, right? So when we navigate some of this, being able to stand in front of the Creator and just ask for what it is you need and surrender everything to Him, when you get in the habit of that, there is no other choice. It becomes like nothing you've ever experienced. So I do want to put this out here just before we wrap up. So on January 28th, I am teaching Quantum Level 1. So if anybody is interested in diving in and starting this healing journey for yourself, come on in. I can post everything for you guys. You can find it on pureradiantsoulacademy.com. You can find it on Sheri-Collins.com, and that will allow you to start stepping into your healing journey. I have a Akashic Records workshop that starts on the 18th at 6 p.m. Eastern, and that is on Facebook in the Akashic Records workshop group. All of it is free in the Akashic group for right now, and then the class will be in February. So I'm going to leave you guys with this tonight. I hope that you guys have an amazing journey forward. I hope you guys can paint your canvas with so much love and color and light and expansion for what you want going forward. I hope that you find that peace within. And with that, I leave you guys with that for tonight. And I wish you guys an amazing rest of the week. And I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to Soul Matrix Show, Unleashing the Power of Your Infinite Soul with Sheri Collins. Tune in live every Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Sheri can help you remember who you once were. Tune in to see the bigger picture, release your past traumas, and step forward into your true self and living a life that you love. This show helps you with all of this by being of service to you, sharing messages of hope, faith, and understanding. To learn more about Sheri and her services, visit Sheri-Collins.com. That's Sheri-Collins.com.